I, 32F, have been best friends with Penny, 32F, since we were in elementary school. Our friendship began on the first day of third grade when we both showed up wearing the same unicorn t-shirt. We laughed about it and became inseparable from that day forward. We went through all the ups and downs of childhood and adolescence together, first crushes, school drama, family issues, you name it. Penny was always the more outgoing one of us. She was involved in every school club and activity, while I preferred to stay in the background. But somehow, our differences complemented each other perfectly. She pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I kept her grounded when she needed it. After high school, we went to different colleges but stayed in touch. I studied journalism, while Penny pursued education. During our college years, Penny met Harry, 35M, at a mutual friend's party. They hit it off immediately, and soon Penny was head over heels in love. I was happy for her, but I'll admit I was a bit jealous too. Penny and I had always joked about being spinster aunts together, and suddenly it felt like she was leaving me behind. Harry was charming and successful, already working as a junior real estate agent at a prestigious firm. He swept Penny off her feet with grand romantic gestures and promises of a bright future together. They got married right after Penny graduated college in a beautiful ceremony where I was the maid of honor. At first, everything seemed perfect. Penny landed a job as a high school English teacher, and Harry's career in real estate took off. They bought a lovely house in the suburbs and started talking about having children. I was genuinely happy for them, even as I struggled to find my own path in life. 5 years ago, Penny gave birth to their daughter, Lydia. I've never seen Penny happier than when she held Lydia for the first time. She took to motherhood like a duck to water, balancing her career and family life with grace. Harry seemed to be a doting father, always bragging about Lydia's latest achievements and showering her with gifts. Over the years, I've remained a constant presence in their lives. I'm Lydia's godmother, and I've spent countless holidays and special occasions with their family. Harry and I have always gotten along well, bonding over our shared love of obscure 80s movies and spicy food. But lately, I've noticed some odd behavior that's making me uncomfortable. It all started about 3 months ago when I was helping Penny plan Lydia's 4th birthday party. We were at their house, sorting through boxes of party supplies in the garage. Penny had gone inside to check on Lydia, who was napping, when Harry's car pulled into the driveway. He came into the garage, and when he saw me, he looked startled. "Oh, hey," he said, his voice slightly higher than usual. "I didn't know you were here." He quickly excused himself to go inside, mumbling something about needing to make a work call. I didn't think much of it at the time, but looking back, his behavior was strange. Harry had always been comfortable around me, often joining in when Penny and I were hanging out. This sudden awkwardness felt out of character. A week later, I ran into Harry at the local coffee shop. It was a Wednesday afternoon, and I was there working on a freelance article. Harry was sitting at a corner table with a woman I didn't recognize. They seemed to be in deep conversation, leaning towards each other and speaking in low voices. When Harry saw me, he abruptly stood up, nearly knocking over his coffee. "Hey," he said, a little too loudly. "Fancy seeing you here. This is, Jessica. She's a client. We were just discussing a potential property listing." The woman, Jessica, smiled politely but didn't say anything. I noticed she was twisting a napkin in her hands, looking uncomfortable. Harry quickly wrapped up their conversation and left, saying he had another appointment to get to. Something about the whole interaction felt off. I've seen Harry with clients before, and he's always been the picture of professional charm. This felt different, more intimate somehow. But I pushed the thought away, telling myself I was being paranoid. The real turning point came last month. Penny called me in a panic one afternoon, asking if I could pick up Lydia from daycare. Both she and Harry had last-minute work commitments come up, and their usual backup sitter was unavailable. Of course, I agreed to help out. I picked up Lydia and headed to Penny and Harry's house. As I turned onto their street, I saw Harry's car in the driveway. This struck me as odd because he was supposed to be at an important meeting, that's why he couldn't pick up Lydia himself. I pulled up behind his car and got Lydia out of her car seat. She was chattering away about her day at daycare as we walked up to the front door. I rang the doorbell, but there was no answer. I could hear movement inside, so I used the spare key Penny had given me years ago to let myself in. "Hello?" I called out. "Harry? It's me and Lydia. We're home." There was no response, but I could hear hushed voices and what sounded like someone scrambling around upstairs. Lydia, oblivious to the tension, ran off to the living room to play with her toys. I hesitated at the bottom of the stairs, unsure of what to do. Then I heard Harry's voice, sounding strained. "Be right down." A few moments later, Harry appeared at the top of the stairs, looking flustered. His shirt was partially unbuttoned, and his hair was a mess. "Hey," he said, trying to sound casual. "I wasn't feeling well, so I came home early. Must have dozed off." But something didn't add up. The house smelled faintly of perfume, a scent I didn't recognize as Penny's. And as I glanced into the living room, I noticed a women's scarf draped over the arm of the couch. It was a bright floral pattern that I had never seen Penny wear. Harry quickly ushered me out, thanking me for picking up Lydia and insisting he was feeling better now and could take it from there. As I drove home, my mind was racing. What had I just walked in on? I didn't confront Harry about what I saw, but it's been eating away at me. Penny is my best friend, and I feel like I should tell her about my suspicions. But I'm also worried that I might be jumping to conclusions and could potentially ruin their marriage if I'm wrong. To complicate matters further, Penny recently confided in me that she and Harry have been trying for another baby. We were having a girls' night at my place, and after a glass of wine, Penny opened up about how excited she was at the prospect of expanding their family. She talked about how much she loved being a mother and how she felt their family wasn't quite complete yet. The guilt I felt in that moment was overwhelming. Here was my best friend, sharing her hopes and dreams for the future, while I sat there harboring suspicions about her husband's fidelity. I wanted to tell her everything right then and there, but I couldn't bring myself to shatter her happiness. Since then, I've been avoiding spending time with them as a couple. I make excuses when Penny suggests double dates or family dinners. I can't bear to sit across from Harry, pretending everything is normal when I have these doubts swirling in my mind. Penny has noticed my distance and keeps asking if everything is okay. I feel terrible lying to her, but I don't know what to do. I've known Penny for most of my life. We've been through everything together: crushes, breakups, family drama, career struggles. She's always been there for me, and I've always prided myself on being there for her. But now, I feel like I'm failing her by keeping this secret. At the same time, I'm terrified of being wrong. What if I'm misinterpreting things? What if Harry has a perfectly reasonable explanation for everything I've seen? I could potentially destroy their marriage and Lydia's family over what might be a series of misunderstandings. I've been losing sleep over this, going back and forth in my mind about what to do. Should I talk to Penny about what I've observed? Should I confront Harry first and give him a chance to explain? Or should I just mind my own business and hope that I'm wrong about all of this? I'm torn between my loyalty to my best friend and the fear of potentially destroying her family if I'm mistaken. Every time I see Penny, every time she talks about her plans for the future or how happy she is, I feel like I'm betraying her by staying silent. But then I look at Lydia, this sweet little girl who adores both her parents, and I wonder if I have the right to potentially turn her world upside down. I never imagined I'd be in this position. Penny and I always joked that we'd grow old together, sitting on rocking chairs and gossiping about our neighbors. Now I feel like there's this huge wall between us, built of secrets and suspicions. I need advice. Am I overreacting to these incidents? Should I trust my gut feeling that something isn't right? Or am I letting my imagination run wild and seeing problems where there aren't any? I'm lost and scared, and I don't know what the right thing to do is. Update 1: It's been 2 weeks since my original post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. After much consideration and sleepless nights, I decided to talk to Penny about my concerns. I invited Penny over for coffee last weekend when I knew Harry would be out of town for a real estate convention. I spent hours cleaning my apartment and stress baking cookies, trying to distract myself from the conversation I knew I had to have. When Penny arrived, we made small talk for a while, catching up on work and Lydia's latest antics. But eventually, I knew I couldn't put it off any longer. I took a deep breath and carefully explained everything I had observed over the past few months, trying to stick to the facts without making any accusations. To my surprise, Penny didn't seem shocked or upset. Instead, she got very quiet, staring into her coffee cup. Then, to my horror, she started crying. What she told me next left me speechless. It turns out that Penny has known about Harry's infidelity for almost a year. She caught him cheating with a coworker about 10 months ago. Penny had surprised Harry at his office one evening, planning to take him out for a spontaneous date night. Instead, she walked in on him and his assistant in a compromising position. Penny told me she was devastated. She had always thought they had a perfect marriage, and the betrayal blindsided her. She confronted Harry that night, and he broke down, confessing to a months-long affair. They decided to try and work things out for the sake of their daughter. They've been in couples counseling, and Harry promised to end the affair and rebuild their trust. Penny admitted that she's been struggling with whether to stay in the marriage or leave. She said that Harry has been making efforts to rebuild their relationship. He's been more attentive, helping more with Lydia and household chores. He even suggested they renew their vows on their upcoming anniversary. But Penny confessed that she's having a hard time trusting him again. Every time he's late from work or gets a text message, she feels sick to her stomach with suspicion. The incident I witnessed in their living room was actually Harry meeting with their couple's therapist at home. Penny explained that she wasn't comfortable with him going to the therapist's office alone, afraid he might use it as an excuse to meet up with someone else. So they had arranged for the therapist to come to their house for some sessions. I felt terrible for not noticing how much Penny had been struggling. She said she didn't tell me because she was embarrassed and afraid of being judged for trying to make it work with Harry. We spent hours talking, and I assured her that I would support her no matter what she decided to do. Penny also revealed that she is not actually trying for another baby with Harry. She told him she was to buy herself more time to decide what she wants to do about their marriage. She's terrified of being a single mother but also doesn't know if she can ever fully trust Harry again. As Penny talked, I could see the toll this secret had taken on her. She looked exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes that I had previously attributed to the stress of teaching and motherhood. Now I realized they were the result of sleepless nights spent worrying about her marriage and her future. Penny confided that she's been going to individual therapy in addition to the couple's counseling. She's been trying to work through her feelings of betrayal and figure out what she wants for her future. She said she still loves Harry, but she's not sure if love is enough anymore. We talked about her fears of being a single mother. Penny comes from a traditional family where divorce is seen as a failure. She's worried about disappointing her parents and about how a divorce might affect Lydia. But she's also afraid of staying in a marriage where she can't trust her partner. I'm still processing all of this information. I feel relieved that I finally talked to Penny, but I'm also angry at Harry for putting her through this and sad for my friend who's been silently dealing with so much pain. Penny asked me not to confront Harry, as she wants to handle this situation on her own terms. For now, I've promised Penny that I'll be there for her whenever she needs me. We've made plans to spend more time together, just the two of us, so she has a safe space to talk about her feelings. I've also offered to babysit Lydia more often to give Penny some time to herself. I'm not sure what the future holds for Penny and Harry's marriage, but I'm glad that I can now be there for my friend during this difficult time. I've reassured her that whatever she decides, I'll support her completely. Penny seemed lighter after our conversation, as if sharing her burden had lifted some weight off her shoulders. She hugged me tightly before she left, thanking me for being such a good friend. I only wish I had noticed her pain sooner. I'll keep you all updated on any significant developments. For now, I'm focusing on being the best friend I can be to Penny as she navigates this difficult time in her life. Update 2. It's been a month since my last update, and the situation has taken an unexpected turn. Penny called me late one night, sobbing uncontrollably. She had just discovered that Harry's affair never actually ended. Penny had been trying to trust Harry again, even agreeing to go on a weekend getaway with him to try and reconnect. They had dropped Lydia off at Penny's parents' house and were packing for their trip when Penny realized she had forgotten to charge her phone. She asked to borrow Harry's phone to check the weather forecast for their destination. As she opened the weather app, a text message notification popped up on the screen. The message was from a woman named Jessica, talking about their plans for an upcoming weekend getaway. It was the same Jessica I had seen Harry with at the coffee shop months ago. Penny confronted Harry, and he initially tried to deny it. He claimed Jessica was just a client and the message was about a property they were discussing. But when Penny threatened to call Jessica herself, Harry broke down and admitted that he had been lying all along. He confessed that he had never ended the affair with Jessica. He had just gotten better at hiding it, using work as a cover for their meetings. He claimed he was addicted to the excitement of the affair and couldn't bring himself to end it, even though he loved Penny and Lydia. I immediately went over to Penny's house to be with her. When I arrived, I found her sitting on the kitchen floor, surrounded by tissues and clutching a framed photo of their wedding day. She was a mess, alternating between anger and despair. We stayed up all night talking. Penny poured out all her feelings, her sense of betrayal, her anger at Harry for lying to her face for months, her fear for Lydia's future, and her own sense of failure. She felt like she had wasted the past year trying to save a marriage that Harry had already abandoned. As the sun came up, Penny made the decision to ask Harry to move out. She said she couldn't bear to look at him anymore, knowing that he had been lying to her face for months while supposedly trying to rebuild their marriage. She was done giving him chances. The next day, I helped Penny pack up Harry's things while he was at work. It was a surreal experience, boxing up the life they had built together. Every item seemed to hold a memory: the tie he wore on their first anniversary, the watch she gave him when Lydia was born. Penny oscillated between tears and determined anger as we worked. When Harry came home, Penny calmly told him that she knew everything and that their marriage was over. Harry begged for another chance, promising he would end things with Jessica for real this time. He cried and pleaded, saying he couldn't bear to lose his family. But Penny stood firm. She told him he could stay at a hotel or with a friend, but he was no longer welcome in their home. She said she would be contacting a lawyer to start divorce proceedings and that they would need to figure out a custody arrangement for Lydia. Harry left that night with a suitcase of clothes and a broken expression. As soon as the door closed behind him, Penny broke down again. I held her as she cried, feeling helpless in the face of her pain. I'm incredibly proud of Penny for standing up for herself, but my heart breaks for her and Lydia. Penny is now faced with the daunting task of rebuilding her life as a single mother. She's scared but determined to create a stable and happy home for Lydia. In the midst of all this chaos, Penny's parents have been incredibly supportive. Initially, they were shocked and upset when Penny told them about the divorce. They come from a generation where marriage was supposed to be forever and divorce was rarely discussed. But when Penny explained the full extent of Harry's betrayal, they rallied around her. They're coming to stay with her for a few weeks to help her adjust and to spend time with Lydia. Penny's mom has been cooking meals and helping with housework, while her dad has been taking Lydia on outings to give Penny some time to process everything. Penny has also decided to take a leave of absence from work to focus on her mental health and on being there for Lydia during this transition. Her principal was understanding and supportive, assuring her that her job would be waiting for her when she's ready to return. As for Harry, he's been calling and texting Penny nonstop, alternating between apologies and accusations. One minute he's begging for another chance, the next he's blaming Penny for giving up on their marriage. Penny has blocked his number and is only communicating with him through a lawyer regarding custody arrangements for Lydia. I've been spending as much time as I can with Penny and Lydia, trying to provide some sense of normalcy and support. We've had movie nights with Lydia, where we build pillow forts and watch Disney movies. I've also been taking Penny to a weekly yoga class, something she used to love but had given up when life got too busy. It's a difficult situation, but I'm amazed by Penny's strength and resilience. Despite everything she's going through, she's determined to create a positive environment for Lydia. She's been reading books on helping children cope with divorce and has even found a support group for single moms in our area. I'll update again if there are any significant developments, but for now, Penny is focused on healing and moving forward. She's taking it one day at a time, and I'm here to support her every step of the way. Update 3. It's been 3 months since my last update, and I wanted to share some positive developments in Penny's situation. Penny has been thriving as a single mother. She returned to work after her leave of absence and has thrown herself into her teaching career with renewed passion. Her students and colleagues have been incredibly supportive, and she says that focusing on her work has been therapeutic. She's even started an after-school creative writing club, something she's always wanted to do but never had the time for before. Lydia has been adjusting well to the new situation, which has been a huge relief for Penny. There were some difficult moments at first. Lydia had trouble sleeping and would often ask when Daddy was coming home. But Penny enrolled her in play therapy to help her process the changes in her family, and it seems to be helping. Lydia's therapist has given Penny strategies to talk to Lydia about the divorce in age-appropriate ways, which has made a big difference. Lydia still sees Harry every other weekend, but Penny has made it clear that she won't tolerate any attempts from Harry to manipulate Lydia or use her as a pawn. They've established clear boundaries and are using a co-parenting app to communicate about Lydia's schedule and needs. It's not always easy, but they're making it work for Lydia's sake. Speaking of Harry, he finally seems to have accepted that the marriage is over. After a few weeks of erratic behavior and attempts to win Penny back, he's now respecting her boundaries. He's stopped calling and texting constantly, and their interactions are now limited to discussions about Lydia. Penny says it's still painful to see him during drop-offs and pickups, but it's getting easier with time. The divorce proceedings are underway, and while there have been some disagreements about asset division, they're making progress. Penny's lawyer has been a godsend, helping her navigate the legal complexities and advocating for her interests. One of the most positive changes I've seen is how Penny has started to rediscover herself outside of her role as a wife and mother. She's joined a support group for divorced women, which she says has been incredibly helpful. Hearing other women's stories and sharing her own has helped her feel less alone in this journey. She's also taken up yoga again, practicing almost daily now. She says it helps her stay centered and manage the stress of single parenthood and the ongoing divorce process. On top of that, she's started writing a blog about her experiences as a single mother. She was hesitant at first, worried about putting her story out there, but she's found it to be cathartic and has even connected with other women in similar situations through her writing. As for me, I've been there for Penny every step of the way. We've grown even closer through this experience, and I'm in awe of her strength and resilience. Watching her rebuild her life has been inspiring. We've started a tradition of Sunday brunches with Lydia, giving Penny something to look forward to each week and providing a sense of stability for Lydia. Penny recently told me that she's starting to feel hopeful about the future for the first time in a long while. She's not interested in dating yet, saying she needs time to focus on herself and Lydia. But she's open to the possibility of finding love again someday, which I see as a positive sign. For now, Penny is focused on creating a happy, stable life for herself and Lydia. She's talking about taking Lydia on a mother-daughter trip this summer, something she says she never would have had the courage to do before. They're thinking about a beach vacation, where they can relax, build sandcastles, and make new memories together. While the past few months have been challenging, it's clear that Penny is coming out stronger on the other side. She still has moments of sadness and anger, but they're becoming less frequent. More often, I see her laughing and enjoying life in a way she hasn't in years. I'm so proud of her and excited to see what the future holds for her and Lydia. Penny's journey has reminded me of the strength of the human spirit and the power of friendship. Whatever challenges lie ahead, I know Penny will face them with the same grace and resilience she's shown so far, and I'll be right there beside her, cheering her on.